From Cornwall to Birmingham and Johnston and Bexhill, here's Ruben Spar on the radio.
Hello to S D Charlton. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you, Ruben. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I need to tell you about when you first started your career. So, can you tell me more about your debut album that you released back in year 2000 called Better Late Than Never?
Yeah, I suppose it goes back to the lockdown when everybody was the same as myself. You found yourself in a situation where you probably had a little bit more time on your hands than normal. And I started writing. Before I knew it, I'd written enough songs to start putting them together. I got in touch via a mutual friend with a producer in Leeds, which is a good couple of hours away from where I live. And we started putting the album together. Yeah, and it was good fun, really good fun.
So was that done remotely, or did you go to the studio on that album?
Yeah, some of it was remote, but most of it was recorded over in his studio. His name's Ben Whelan, very, very talented musician in his own right, but also an extremely good producer. And we worked on, I think there's 11 songs on that debut album. We worked on several more, but we picked the 11 that we thought would be best for the album, and that kind of fitted in with each other, really.
So what was it like going to a recording studio?
Yeah, I mean, over the years, I've been to several recording studios. I was quite young when I started singing back in the 80s. I think I was about 15 and 16 when I was asked to join my first band in Skegness, of all places. And I think we recorded three songs. One was a cover of Through the Barricades by Spandau Ballet. So it shows you how long ago. And we went to a recording studio out in Boston, near Boston, called Gems Studio. And I remember there was a young guitarist there called Eddie. Oh my God, that boy could play the guitar. Yes, that was my first ever venture into a recording studio. So yeah, I quite like it. I feel quite at home in the studio.
You find it, was it like working with different producers? What's that like?
I suppose it's like working with different musicians, really. Everybody's got something new that they can bring to the table. I think you've definitely got to click. There's got to be some kind of meeting of minds, really, when writing or recording. I think, yeah, I don't think you could just throw it all together. I think there's got to be a plan, and I think you've also got to get this connection with people. And I sometimes think that pretty soon if it's not going to work.
So, can you tell me more about your debut single called Heidi Jane?
Yeah, okay. So this was a song that I wrote many, many years ago, and it's quite a personal song because Heidi Jane is the name of my little sister, who sadly passed away when she was 16 years old in 1990. And I wrote this song basically as a poem. And then I was in a band between 1992 and 94, local band. And the lead guitarist and I got together and he put music to it, and it just kind of formed from there. And then I didn't do anything with it. We played it a few times at gigs, and it was quite a special personal song, as I've said before. But then I left it for years and did nothing with it. And then, as I said previously, when we became locked down, and I had time to go through all these books of lyrics that I'd collected over the years, I decided to do something with it. And I went and recorded it with a different producer, a guy called Phil Ball. Again, another top musician, an excellent producer, and I think he did a really, really good job of it. And I only worked with Phil on that one song, but I remember going into his home studio, which was amazing, and we put this together, and yeah, I was very pleased with how it turned out.
We'll move on a few years now. So can you tell me more about the Bird in a Cage?
Bird in the Cage was a collaboration with a local musician that I've known for many, many years. And I keep repeating myself by saying that that these people that I've worked with are fantastic musicians, but he is. They all are. My secret is that I can sing, but that's about all I can do. I can write lyrics, and that's probably the top of it. I surround myself with very, very good musicians that make me sound better. And Chris James Willows was the guy that I worked with on that song. I had the lyrics there. I had a basic demo that I sent to him, and he completely polished it, turned around, and brought it back to what it is now. And again, I think he did a fantastic job.
So can you tell me more about the EP that released called Infusion?
The EP Infusion was my first project with Al Croft. Now, Al Croft is a guy that I worked with in a band, probably 15 years ago. Fantastic drummer, great musician, but also a hell of a producer. And also probably one of the nicest people I've ever met. We hit it off instantly all those years ago. And then we got back in touch with each other, and we decided to do some of my solo stuff. So I took a load of demos to him and said, there you go, try and make something decent out of that. And he did. And yeah, I still work with Al quite a lot now on not only my solo stuff, but also the studio band.
So can you tell me more about Hey Yeah?
Hey Yeah. Hey Yeah was originally going to be for our studio band, and it's a song that I wrote probably about 3 or 4 years ago, and the lead guitarist Roger Whittam is another old friend, another musician that I was in the band with back in the early 90s, and we've kept in touch in all these years. And we decided what he'd done, he'd written quite a lot of music that he never did anything with. He never put any lyrics to it or anything. And during lockdown, I said, Rog, just can you give me the songs? I'm going to put some lyrics to it. I'll record it and see what you think. And while we were doing that, I had this idea for this song called Gut Wrench. And I sent him the lyrics, and he sent me back what he thought it should sound like. And I was like, yeah, the title's not right. And because I'd already put my second release was a song called Hey There, which whenever I play live, it seems to be the most popular song. I just felt that there was no connection musically, but with the title, I thought, yeah, I've got to follow that. So I changed it from Gut Wrench to Hey Yeah. And yeah, that's how that came about.
So can you tell me more about the single that you called At the End of the Day?
Right, so this is not my song. This is a song by a guy called Chris Fowler. Now, I first met Chris back in the late 90s, I think it was. The days before the internet, we used to have to get in touch with each other either by phone, or if your mum and dad didn't let you use the phone, you had to write a letter. And I can remember, I think I picked up Melody Maker or The Stage. I think it was Melody Maker. And there was an advert in the magazine that said vocalists wanted to sing songs. So I sent Chris one of my songs from the band that I'd been in a few years ago. And he got back in touch with me, and he said, it sounds good. Do you want to come over to Birmingham? And bear in mind, I live in Lincolnshire, right on the coast. So it's a good 2.5, 3 hour journey. And I went over there, and this was back in the 90s. And I recorded 4 or 5 songs of his in one day, I think, as well. And then we didn't see each other. We kind of lost contact until the lockdown again. And I found him through Twitter by accident, I think it was. It's either Twitter or Facebook. And he sent me a couple of songs and said, any chance of you putting your vocals on here? So I did. And that's my favourite. That's my favourite of his songs. I think I've sang on 6, maybe 7 of his songs, but that's my favourite of his.
So tell me more about your latest thing release called I Can See You Hanging On.
Yeah, so this song started as a bit of a tongue-in-cheek poke at one of my neighbours. We've just moved to a new area, still in Lincolnshire, but a little bit further inland, so we're in the country now, which is beautiful. It's peaceful and quiet. But my neighbours are very, very nice people. But I just, you know, when you've got a feeling when you think somebody's watching you as you walk in and around the garden or as we go up the paddock or whatever. So I got in one night and I was feeling particularly cheeky. So I started writing these lyrics down about somebody watching me through a hole in the fence. And that's what the single was originally called. But then I thought, no, it kind of changed from there. It started out as a bit of a poke at one of my nosy neighbours, but the song grew and grew away from that. Yeah, and that's how it ended up. And I think that released quite recently. I think it was 4th of May that went out.
So are you working on any new music that you're going to release soon?
Yeah, solo stuff. I've got 3 or 4 on the back burner at the moment that we're going to record a little bit later because I've spoken to Al Croft, who I mentioned earlier. I'm just going to take a break for a couple of months from recording. But yeah, hopefully at the end of the summer we'll come back and we'll start doing some more. But before then, we've got the release of the studio band album on the 1st of July.
So can you tell me more about the studio band that you're in?
Yeah, so this all began, as I said before, with Roger's music that he'd written many moons ago, and he'd never really taken it anywhere or done anything with it, and it was just left to rot, and it was too good to be left to rot. So I asked him if he wouldn't mind me playing about with it and putting some lyrics in, which we did, and then we got Al involved because I think Roger had done all the demos on a GarageBand on his iPad. So he got the synthesized drums and all loops and all that, and we wanted to make it a lot more real. So Al came in, and as I said before, an absolute excellent drummer and musician, and he reformatted the whole of the songs, and we then put it together. So the studio band consists of myself, Al Croft, and Roger Whittam. Roger now lives on an island in Scotland. He's more remote than I am, and I'm remote. Al lives about an hour away from me. So we've done most of this band remotely. However, I do go over to Al's studio now and again and put some vocals down. But yeah, we're very proud of this album. It's very, very different to my solo material, but we're very proud of it. And to say it's our first album, I think we've done a really good job.
So can you tell me, I know you've got some gigs coming up this month, but have you got any coming up in June?
Yeah, I've got a local gig on the 1st of June, I think it is, in a place called Mablethorpe. Now, the funny story to this is that about 5 or 6 years ago, I did in December 2018 and December 2019, I did 2 gigs, which were tributes to George Michael and Wham. And they were both quite successful. They were sellouts, and I was very lucky. The production team that I worked with then were fantastic. And the dancers that I had and the backing singers were very, very good. We had the video at the back of the stage. It was quite a big show, and they both went really, really well. But I'm actually playing in the smaller bar, and it's the first time that I'll have played it since we did the last George Michael gig. So I'm really looking forward to that one.
So, can you tell me who's been an independent artist for you?
Who's the what? Sorry.
How's it been an independent artist for you?
Do you know what? I don't think about it too much. I'm probably quite a lot older than a lot of the independent artists that I listen to. I've been around the block, as they say. I've been here for quite a while, dabbling now and again in music. I love doing it. I'm not too serious about. I'm serious about putting the songs together. I'm not very serious about what happens after. You know, I don't dream of fame and fortune, because I'm quite happy with my life. I'm quite happy with the work that I do in my private life. I just enjoy the process of making music, writing songs, working with fantastic musicians. I'm very, very fortunate that the people that I've collaborated with are top musicians and top people as well. You know, from all different areas and cultures and places. And it's an experience. I feel like I've grown more probably in the last 4 years than I have in the last 20.
So finally, can you tell my listeners where can they find you on your social media?
Yeah, you can find, if you so wish, you can find me on Spotify, SD Charlton. You can also get me on Facebook by the same moniker. You can also find me on SoundCloud, YouTube, Twitter, under SD Charlton. And yeah, I think that's about it. I came off Twitter for a while because I was a little bit disillusioned with it all. It became very, very toxic in certain areas, and I just thought, I can't be doing it. This is not what I got into this for. I want to echo Lennon. It's all about peace, love, and harmony, and it didn't seem like that, so I came off. I tried a couple of other sites, and it just didn't do for me. So they pulled me back in to Twitter, and to be fair, I'm quite enjoying it. I've reconnected with some of the people that I lost touch with, and yeah, so you can find me there.
So can you also mention the band details? Where can my listeners find your band that you're in?
Yeah, so the band, we're called Courtyard Jesters. You can also find us on Facebook and Spotify. We do have a YouTube channel, although there's not a lot on there at the moment. And we're hoping that as soon as the album releases on the 1st of July, which is on Spotify, we'll be able to probably put some more stuff out there. We have got enough material to start working on a second album, but I think we need a bit of a rest. It took us 2 years to put this, maybe even more, probably about 2.5, maybe even 3 years to put this album together. And it's took a lot of time, it's took a lot of effort, but we're very proud of it. Logistically, it's going to be very difficult for us to get together to play live, although I really wish we could, because I think these songs deserve to be played live. But we'll see what happens. You never know. You can never say never.
Thank you for letting me chat to you today.
It's been great. Thank you, Ruben. Really appreciate your time.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
And you. All the best.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.